Rodeo time. Gotta get her on down the road.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Rodeo Time, the podcast. We are ranching stock around the clock. So hard that we're breaking records. We're breaking boundaries. We're breaking bones up in here. Even Dale Brisby is no match for... Even Dale Brisby's bones are no match for Dale Brisby.
He needs some milk.
No, I'm off of milk. But...
Going vegan, huh?
DB, I got a broken collarbone. Yeah. So I'm in a sling. For those of you that could hear and you're like, something's different, and you're listening to this podcast, you're like, what's up? What's different? DB's in a sling. Anyhow, we'd like to thank Rock and Roll Dinner for bringing us this episode of Rodeo Time. It's like episode 58 or something. And we're back with our man Drew Merritt.
Howdy.
Vandalist, really. Is that what you like to call yourself? You're a vandal?
I'd like to now.
You're a street bandit.
I'm a retired vandal.
A retired vandal.
A retired vandal. I'm like the career span of a vandal is very short for those that don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm on if there's like a retirement for a vandal, which we like to call unemployed in the business, that's me.
Wouldn't it be employed?
Huh?
Or is that what you said?
For a lot of us in the graffiti world, unemployment is what the government calls it. For us, it's called retired.
Yep. Drew is a world-renowned street artist. Like,
yeah,
quick name.
It's weird because
artist.
Like, artist, but like street artist, like there's
give us. I'm gonna change the look. I'm gonna change the zoom on that. But
okay.
While I'm doing that, give us like all the things someone has described you as, and even some of the more comical ones.
All right. I mean, like the the more accurate ones would probably be like handsome, charming, debonair, hilarious, good looking. But no, it's been described as like a lot like. Man, I'm trying to think how to describe it first. So I'm what they would probably call like third or fourth generation like street art of graffiti. So you have like the old school graffiti writers, and then like first generation or whatever that was like late 70s, early 80s, and then it kind of goes into the 90s, and then the 2000s, and then it kind of evolved to where it is right now, where it's like the lines have been blurred so much between like graffiti, street art, and all that I'm like the new kid, which is weird to think about because it's like, man, that wasn't that long ago, but it was still long ago at the same time.
So what do you mean you're the new kid?
Well, like you got all these like these guys from like the 80s, 90s who were kind of like the pioneers, but now it's so socially acceptable, and then the internet just took it to this whole other level where it's like you do, one or two good things and you take a photo of it. It doesn't even have to be like illegal or like on the side of a building or train or like whatever, and then it goes viral, and it's kind of like what they were doing illegally, but like on trains and whatever, and like repetitive over and over and over, getting up huge, like doing crazy stuff. And people would just see it, with their own eyes. But the internet changed the game. So now it's strange because you have, like the pioneers who are like, a lot of the guys that I know are kind of like purists, like, nah, this is how it happens. But then you have the guys that are like the old school guys that have evolved, and they do both. And it's like just global domination now. Because it's... you used to be able to tell too, like, or in my opinion, you used to be able to tell like geographically, like where somebody was from. Like, oh, this guy has like a Philly hand style, like that guy's from New York, like that guy's West Coast. He's got that like, Chicano hand style that only LA has.
So when people see your stuff, are they like, this guy's from New Mexico and he also ranches and he rides horses, but he's also a graffiti artist?
So that was the weird thing about growing up on a ranch. Is we didn't have internet. We had like 3 TV channels as a kid.
Yeah.
So we had a train yard though, and I would see trains going through, but I wasn't aware of like the geographic like area thing, because I was like my own little cutoff thing, and I was the only one that I knew that wrote graffiti. So growing up on a ranch, I would see like trains go by. And I was like, that was sick. File, save as in my brain, and then apply that to my own
File
stuff.
save as in my brain.
It was like, you're on like a horse, you're on a motorcycle, like whatever, and you like see something, you're like, oh, watch it until it goes. Okay, I gotta like remember that little thing, and then it would apply to my own thing, which at the time it was weird because I always thought like, oh, I'm just like the biggest poser, because I'd look at my stuff and it didn't look like anybody else's because it was like this weird melting pot. So in a weird way, like,
hold on, this is like super weird. Because,
yeah,
not weird, but I can just picture you like you're on your ranch in New Mexico. You got nothing to do. You might work some cows that day, but you're not gonna watch TV. You're not gonna get on the internet. So you're just chilling, watching trains go by.
There was
That's
one
your
road.
entertainment.
Yeah, there was
and you
one
get
road
to-
going in and out.
The graffiti on a train car is your entertainment for the afternoon.
Yep.
And that's what helped develop your style of art.
Yeah. So there was one road going in and out of our ranch, and there was a train track across it. So if we're hauling cattle, you get stopped for like 20 minutes and you're just staring. And that was like my whole life. So it's only a matter of time before that like kind of seeps in. If you're a kid, you're a sponge. So it's like we'd haul cattle and you just sit there and be like, oh, that was a dope throwy. It's like, who was acting up in the trailer? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
It's kind of like, I got this round pen and it's got post lining.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because when you're training a horse, you don't want them distracted. You want them to look at you. You're standing in the middle of the round pen. Eventually, like, if it's just a panel and it's just like rebar or whatever, or like sucker rod or pipe, then they can just look out. They're looking at other horses. Somebody drives up and somebody walks up. They're constantly distracted. Well, you got if it's like cut off and it's like their walls, they got to look at you and they're ready to mind you. So I can picture you like, it's not necessarily walls, it's the opposite. It's just flat nothing in New Mexico, and you're forced to look at this train. It's like you've got no distractions, and every day you leave, you get caught at this train, and you're just like, that's cool graffiti, and eventually you just do what the graffiti tells you to do.
Pretty much, dude. So it's weird too with like materials, because like whenever you doctor a calf, you give them a mark. Well, I learned real quick those work great on trains, and they stay up on metal forever. I don't know if you've ever wrote with those cattle markers.
Yeah, like a chalk, like
I don't know what's chalk stick. Yeah. Oh, they're great. So that was like one of my first tools. It was like I got one in my pickup right now because I still use them.
Dang.
It's like the chalk marker.
Yeah, we was talking about we use them a lot with yearlings.
Yeah.
Wheat pasture cattle.
Some people put different things on them. We had a mark. If you marked his, front left shoulder, that means he got worked on Monday. His ribs was Tuesday. His back left was
Y'all are way more advanced than
Wednesday.
Us. Ours look like
back right hip was Thursday. Ribs were Friday. Front right shoulder Saturday, and his forehead was Sunday. Or something like that. I can't remember the exact days. But it's like
he had like a pink and a blue.
All of a sudden, you had something like tatted up all the way around. It's like,
if you were pink last week, then the next week you're blue. So
there's all kinds of ways people do it.
Oh, y'all are way more advanced. We had like the prison marks. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What were you about to ask, Don?
I was gonna say, did you have to carry around like a graph to like?
A cheat sheet,
like a map,
a legend.
Yeah,
the legend in the corner.
Well, that's something that like that's another funny thing because like my dad he's old school, but he's old school and like let's get it done. So that's why we use like motorcycles. It kind of like phased out of horses, and like we started just using. I mean, he gets stuff. I mean, he'd round up 100 head of cattle on a bike by himself. Like it's like a cow dog. It's crazy to watch it. I took it for granted. But he was always the guy that was like, get your head out of the clouds. Because I'm sitting there and I'm like looking at the chute, like whatever in the panels. And I'm like, oh man, I got this chalk stick. I want to draw it, like whatever. And then finally, like, I think it clicked. And like, so he was just like, all right, you brand. So then like, it was like, I was still doing something, I was like marking something and like whatever. And that was like,
That's how you could get artistic.
Yeah, that was. So it's funny because then you go to college and you get all the friends in college and they're like, yeah, I was thinking about getting a tattoo or a brand. I was like, I got you.
It's funny. Y'all should have. It'd have been awesome if y'all used a running iron. Where you got to draw the brand on there.
Oh yeah.
So like some guys, like if you you're out catching mavericks or something, there may be 2 or 3, and you just rope them out in the pasture, and they'll have like a little running iron. It's just got like a rounded end where you can like draw the brand on, so it's a little more
Oh, no
crude
way.
than like an actual, like iron that somebody makes. But it's a way to get artistic.
Dude, I have never used one of those.
They call it a running iron. Yeah,
I like to call it a sizzle stick.
sizzle
but
stick.
you could I could see you getting to where like you got this real intricate brand, and maybe you're branding like 100 head, and you just use a running iron on all of them. And it's like, but you could probably be consistent with them.
I don't know, man. Like,
Anyway,
I'd like to try it just to try it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like next time we're working cattle, like I wanna give one.
well, I'm not gonna let you try it on mine. We did recently work our calves. Donnie got to drag for the first time. How'd you feel, Donnie?
It felt cool. It was good. Yeah.
You felt cool?
Yeah.
Good.
You feel cool when you're doing it.
How'd that feel for the first time?
It was
Cool.
pretty cool.
No, I meant feeling cool.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt cool.
Leroy. West Camp, no, Guacamole Camp, then West Camp. You wrote better at West Camp than you did Guacamole. What was the difference?
I don't really know. Just
Wasn't your first rodeo.
Yeah.
You had the hang of it.
yeah. I had it all together.
There was a lot less pressure at West Camp.
Yeah, it was a lot more laxed. I get it was
were
all laxed, but
We were kind of done.
yeah. Yeah.
You feel that when you're dragging and like you miss a couple. I've never missed, but people tell me. People tell me. And you all of a sudden you realize like, all right, they've already let the last calf up and they're waiting on you. That's like the ultimate pressure of rope and dragging in the pen, and it's just like then all of a sudden if you miss, rebuilding your loop is
Seems
just
like it takes forever.
you cannot do it fast enough. Yeah,
and you drop it or something.
I'm glad we switched to Bandito.
Yeah, me too.
Boone's tall.
I was about to say, yeah, he's closer to the ground.
But Bandito just moves around good. You can control him with your feet a lot easier.
Yeah, you got to have some long shanks to get old Boone to do what you want.
Just old man.
Yeah, you flanked calves really well. It's like you were an old pro flanking calves.
Yeah, I've been around.
Yeah. You're just going up the check mark. It's just like you can run a vaccine gun, drag. You castrated a few.
Yeah, that was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I was, you got a knife in your hand.
Right.
Calf kicking around. And I was thinking to set it down, but Buster's like, don't set it down.
Yeah.
And he's like, you lose it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Calf starts kicking around, cut my finger, cut somebody else.
Right.
And then, you cut it, and they're hard to pull out of there. Like,
Right.
Yeah, and they're slippery.
You got to get a little dirt on your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to get them in between your fingers and, like, push and pull at the same time. And
Right.
You got to break that muscle, son.
It was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
You got to get those little sacks. What are they called? At the top. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
No.
Scrotum.
No.
It's all scrotum.
Yeah.
The
Well,
sac
scrotum
the
is
scrotum.
just, yeah.
I'm talking about on the testes, you got to get that one little part out up at the top, or else it'll still have semen in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
No? You didn't pay attention when we were children.
But you got to do all of it.
Yeah.
You got to do all of it.
I've never branded a calf.
Oh, you hadn't branded yet? Shut the
Satisfying.
fuck up. Hey, will you turn that light on,
Oh, yeah.
Leroy? Oh, God. I was wondering why it was darker in here.
It's just my personality.
Is that it? Yeah, so whenever we worked, we had, we drug calves, West Camp, Guacamole, went and had lunch, and then we came back from lunch, and Blue Boy, you went to tie up Blue Boy, or get him a little closer, anyways, whatever, bowling knot, and we learned just how hard Blue Boy could sit back.
Oh, yeah.
And ripped off Donnie's finger. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, check out his finger. See how it kind of like
It used to be a lot worse. For about 6 months, it was about like that.
Your finger will go like
man.
this. Your finger will crooked. It go like
Because,
this.
like, that rope just sawed it all off right there at the joint. And there's probably like that much of a gap, wouldn't you say?
Good inch.
It was
That's
was-
gnarly.
bone only.
Like, this was okay up on top, but, like, this was gone. Just everything had been eaten down to, like, the bone.
It was.
This is why I've never. It's like my whole job. I'm never like
We went this
never
way.
roping. I need my hands.
Well, it was just he was just trying to tie a horse up.
Yeah, it was
You're kidding?
it was a
Yeah,
lead rope.
Blue Boy, the Dale Brisby, the
Yeah,
big white horse.
yeah.
He's kind of ranchy. I'll put it politely.
Yeah.
And he's fast and he's strong, but everything else you got to watch him. You know.
Yeah.
He might buck. He might sit back. You know.
Probably saw like a leaf fall off a tree.
Yeah.
Made him sit back.
He ran back on it and did almost rip his finger off. Had to go to the hospital. Local went to that town, and not a great experience at that hospital. And they were like, well, I'm going to have to send you to Fort Worth, and they're probably going to cut it off. And you have to take an ambulance. And so
That's a big bill for a cut off finger.
yeah, so he went to Fort Worth, and the nurse was like, I'm just going to put 6 stitches in it, and it's fine. I don't know what they were talking about. And
Was
so
that?
I could have drove him.
Yeah.
And surely what you got this big hospital for? You can't put in 6 stitches. You know? Anyway, so she put in 6 stitches and he's fine. His finger's like it's not back to normal.
Well, it's better than not having one.
I don't know. It'd been pretty cool to have them.
Was your middle finger?
Yeah,
Oh man, if you flip somebody off and you didn't have a finger.
It's just a stump.
but yeah, because like this, they just stitched it over, and for the longest time, it was about like that. Like it was.
That's nuts.
My strong
And-
hands.
I don't know. I think if they cut it off, it would have taken a long time to get it to stop hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine got his pinky kicked off. He's catching flanks at a rodeo school, and he's hooking a flank, and he wasn't paying attention. Turned back and looked, and a horse kicked and busted his pinky off right there.
Who?
Mason Johnston.
Oh, yeah.
And to this day, if he hits the tip of it, it hurts quite a bit.
Imagine. So that was last year at
Spring Brandon.
Spring Works. This year at Spring Works, everything went smooth again.
Yeah.
You know, bucked some horses, and we were just going to cap it off. I mean, let's cap off the afternoon with a good buck out. That's how we do in Winnebago. And we wanted to get Burrito bucked before we send him back. He'd had some weak trips, and anyways, I had a weird trip, and I didn't like the way he was bucking. So I dove off. Snowmageddon had happened, and at the end of the arena, had this colt in there. He was just walking back and forth, made the ground like this hard, and hard as a rock, son. This colt was walking, and luckily my collarbone broke my fall. I don't want to call it a fall because Dale Brisby didn't fall. I mean, I just
Stepped off and caught a stirrup.
stepped off, caught a stirrup, whatever. And, yeah, Dale Brisby's bones are no match for Dale Brisby. Snapped my collarbone into 4 pieces. So I was like, I didn't want to repeat his experience. So I was like, where should I go? Called my physician. I was like, hey, what's up? She was like, not much. What's going on? I was like, oh, we just got done bucking some horses. What are y'all doing? She was like, just about to have dinner. I was like, okay. Well, I broke my collarbone. And where should I go? So she was like, she told me the hospital, she was like, the ER sucks, but it's worth it to use their orthopedic surgeon. I was like, okay. So we get to this hospital and no signs on the front. No signs. I was like, this is weird. And so I was like, Donnie, drive around to the back. Maybe that's where the ER is. So we get around to the back. Huge sign, emergency room entrance. Those 3 words. That's a verbatim what the sign says. Red letters. I was like, oh, this is the emergency room entrance. Let's park here and go in with my broken collarbone. And we get out. I barely get out of this truck. Very painful. Very painful at this point. It's been an hour and a half. And Donnie kind of helps me walk. And this lady comes out as if we're about to rob the place. Which, you know, I'm not going to hold that against her, the way I look. You know, I've got this beard and sunglasses. I had on a beanie, you know, because, like, I was like, I'm going to be laying in a hospital bed. That'd be more comfortable than my cowboy hat. So, fair assessment. She thinks I'm going to rob the place. No. She just comes out to tell me, no, this is not. Did she not, like, address us like we were dogs peeing on the carpet? Don't you feel like that's what she came out?
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
She was like, this is not the entrance. She was like, this is for ambulances only. And Donnie says I said it a certain way. How did I say it, Donnie?
You're holding your arm up like this. And oh, the sign fooled me.
I said, the sign fooled me. I turned around. I didn't want to climb back up in this big, chunky, you know, truck. And I was like,
Chunky truck.
just like all the steps and everything. I was like, I'm just going to walk. So I walked around. She was like, you got to go to the front. And I mean, like, I took another step because I was thinking, like, she doesn't understand, you know.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand that this is a minor emergency, that I've got my collarbone broken. She was like, no. It's like she said it again. She's like, go to the front. She was mad. Anyways, nobody there. No cars there. No nothing. Like, it is Dale, Donnie, and employees. So I walk in the front, and this cop comes out with a temperature gun. I was like, surely he's not about to take my temperature. Like, if I got a fever, I'm not welcome. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, sir. You're 101. You know, go somewhere against the hospital. You bet. Sure enough, he's like, he like lets me in, you know, and he checks Donnie's temperature and go to the desk. And she was like, yes, can I help you? Yes, ma'am, you can. I'm in a immense amount of pain, and I would like to use your emergency room. Well, I'm going to have you fill out this paperwork first. I was like, ma'am, I'm going to have a hard time writing. She said, well, I can't let you back there. I was like, surely we could come to some agreement.
This woman is a sadist.
You can just
She's like,
trust
right
me that I'm in pain.
Right with your broken arm.
She's
Go
like,
through the other door.
She was like, well, do you have somebody that can write for you? And I was like, he's coming in. So Donnie fills out the paperwork and hand it back, and I was like, oh, please unlock the door. And she was like, if you'll just sit over there and wait, we'll come out and get you. You got to be kidding me. There's nobody in the parking lot. Like, I thought they might have been closed, you know. So we just sit there and wait. And so finally, like, you left, right?
Well, yeah.
And then somebody else came and helped me. And I was like, all right, man. So I go back, and they're like, okay, we're going to get some more information from you. Anyways, like, I'm like ready to text my family physician, like, you were right. This orthopedic surgeon better be damn good, because this ER experience sucks. And
Yeah, I don't like that hospital. That's not a good hospital.
so I'm like filming myself, and this lady comes in. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm trying to pay for this dang hospital visit with this YouTube video lady. She was like, well, we're just going to have to step out, and it's going to prolong your care. And I was like, well, surely it can't get much worse than this. And I was like, so I shut the video off, whatever. And anyhow, from then on, the nurses were pretty good. And then the doctor came in. He was like, your collarbone's broke into like 4 pieces. And I was like, can I get some pain medication? So they came in and gave me some morphine. Anyway, turns out I don't think I have to have surgery. The orthopedic surgeon called me the next day. So, very interesting. I don't know. Apparently, all 4 pieces of my collarbone are in line. So, he said come back in 2 weeks for a checkup.
Dang sure doesn't look in line.
Well, it was already kind of jagged. This is the 3rd time I've broken it.
Well, I mean, zigzags are considered a line, I guess.
Yeah.
Last night, I was helping him take off his thing, and he was like, how's it look? It's just like this huge puffy. It was like, it kind of looks like a pillow. You know, look real comfy getting in there.
Oh, jeez. It was so, I don't know. A lot of pain. That night, the morphine wore off at 1:30. I was wide awake and almost in tears, but luckily the ER doctor had prescribed me Tylenol. So
Children's Tylenol.
yeah, Tylenol. So I took some Tylenol. Anyhow,
Now might be a good time to get that carbon fiber graft.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
that.
So we need to plan better for Springworks
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah. Ranger was saying he's bad luck, or that him and Buster are bad luck, that they need to stop coming.
Buster Frierson and his son Ranger Frierson came to help us. I don't think they're bad luck.
No, I agree, but that's what he said.
Yeah, I heard him say that as I was getting in the truck, but I knew the risks. Yeah, it's just, Blue Boy sits back. We don't tie him up anymore. DB needs to drag the arena once in a while. So, especially after Snowmageddon, it's packed down like concrete. Anyway, Leroy. Congratulations. Leroy has won 4 nights in a row the Ranch Showdown.
The local showdown at 95.9, The Ranch.
95.9, The Ranch. Coming to you live
Sundance Square.
from Sundance Square.
Oh, yeah.
What it is weeknights on the ranch. We've got the local music showdown. So local musicians email in songs, and we emailed in "If I Don't Call" for Leroy.
Yeah, they didn't tell me they did it either.
And I mean, Ben Ryan, he's the DJ, called me at like 7:14. He was like, "Hey, is Leroy ready?" And I was like, "For what?" In an hour, he's going on the showdown. I was like, "Oh, thank you." Yeah, no, this is great.
He called me at 8.
Yeah.
And it went on at 8:10. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, glad I had cell phone service.
Yeah. So pulled over, and yeah, so the citizens of Winnebago came in clutch. If you win 5 nights in a row, then you go into the Ranch Hall of Fame, and you get to go in for an interview. So last night was night number 5. We find out if he won tonight. We had a lot of momentum, and there were a lot of people gunning for him. So, Lord willing, he won the 5th night, and he'll get to go on to be in the Ranch Hall of Fame. So,
You bet.
congratulations.
Well, thank you. That's why I hadn't won yet.
It's a great song. If I Don't Call, if you haven't heard it, please download it. Leroy and John Stork wrote it together a little while back while they were recording the song Rodeo Blues, which is a song kind of modeled after my bar behind my house.
We wrote half of it in the bar
Yep.
while we were partaking in the bar things.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of a so Rodeo Blues and If I Don't Call. If I Don't Call, it's got some rodeo time lyrics in it. Absolutely fantastic rodeo song. It's played at all the big rodeos: Calgary, Houston, San Antonio. It's a really good pre-rodeo song, because like it's hard for rodeo sound guys like Hambone, who was on a podcast recently. They like a certain genre of music. It's not just like classic country before the rodeo, So
Don't break my heart.
that-
My achy breaky heart.
That's another one of my favorites that you wrote.
they don't, they don't typically play like Beaches of Cheyenne. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like there's not, but If I Don't Call is like crazy because it's like upbeat and it's very specific to the rodeo community. So like everybody enjoys the song, but if you've rodeoed, then you understand the lyrics on like a very personal, passionate level. So anyhow, it's interesting because there's the full band version is super upbeat. It's like you're out there winning, and if I don't call, don't worry. But then the acoustic version, when he slows it down, there's like this other element to it where it's like maybe you bucked off, and it's like if I don't call, don't worry. Anyhow, I like the two
I do too.
versions.
John has a version out, and it's good. I like
Yeah.
it.
So anyhow, congratulations to Leroy.
Thank you. I got a new album coming too.
Donnie.
What's the date?
March 26th.
Oh yeah,
March
that's what.
20.
Yeah.
That's soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9. It's a 9-song album. It's gonna be called Unsettled.
17. That's 2.5 weeks. 17 days from now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Unsettled.
Unsettled.
Yeah, you got some cool songs in there.
Thank you.
Oh man.
They're neat.
What's happened? I mean, like we've got an artist here that's like painting murals on the side of buildings in Dallas and LA. DB has a broken collarbone. Leroy's got an album coming out, going in the Ranch Hall of Fame. What you got going, Donnie? Tell us what's happening in Donnie Ray Daytona's life.
I got a dog.
What's his name?
Rango.
Ringo. Are you going to get him an Instagram?
No, absolutely not. I freaking cannot stand that stuff.
What about me? Should I get one for Boone?
Mm-mm. I started one for Pickle. It's just not worth it. It's really not
But
worth
Boone's
it.
different.
Yeah,
There's a lot of Boone content.
that is true.
No, because they have more followers than me.
Yeah, that you've always been.
I think Dale's horse would have more followers than Dale.
Yeah.
So.
You've always been super worried about your followers.
Yeah.
You post once a month.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, it's, I don't know, like, I feel like you and Dan Bilzerian. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, my phone fell in the drain.
You're comparing me to Dan Brazilian?
I don't know Dan personally,
I don't know how to say his name, so I'm going to mumble.
but I know Cowboy, Cerrone, and their buddies, anyhow. And it looks like Dan posts like once every 6 months.
Yeah.
He's got millions of followers. What I'm saying is like,
Well, they post different content.
Yeah, I was going to
that's
say.
very much so. But you've
How
got like,
so?
you got like almost 50,000 followers and you never post. Like, you just have them. You're just like, it's like you forget, you know.
People probably forget they follow me. They're
Yeah.
all, I paid for them all.
Oh, did you?
They're not organic.
He's lying, people.
What was I going to say?
What kind of dog you got?
It's funny though, the people, like, I know 2 people that I think paid for their followers, you know.
Oh, there's people out there. The dog kind of. Hold on, 1 second.
One question at a time.
I had
Your brain's going like a mile a minute.
Hold on, I'm
From 1 mile an
confused.
hour.
I had 1,000 followers before I even had a post on Instagram. That's so stupid. But anyways, it's a corgi healer mix. His name is Rango, and he's about 4 inches tall and about 10 inches long.
Nice.
Looks like somebody just walked over his grave.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like you. You recently started roping him. He like,
It's so funny.
Donnie went to pick him up yesterday and he just peed all over himself.
Donnie did or the dog?
Both.
It was just a dribble.
Just a little drizzle.
I got a Rango sized rope though, so it doesn't hurt him.
It's like a little chicken rope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's fun to do bad things.
It's fun. It's like roping a little hamster dog.
He looks like a hamster.
Yeah.
Leroy,
That's a huge hamster.
Guinea pig.
you trying to get rid of Pickle?
Who's asking?
I don't know. You were yesterday. You were trying to offer him to everybody. Don't you need a dog? Have you seen Pickle?
He's hairless, so I mean he's not gonna shed.
He's a Chinese crested.
He's got some hair.
He is
He's
the
got some on
most
his feet and his head.
hideous dog
Is
you've ever seen in your life.
is he good for roping?
You bet.
He's got long legs.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I it's weird. Yesterday, I might have got a dog. I don't know if I did, but like subconsciously, I was like kind of driving, and you know how like you get to a stoplight or whatever, you kind of like check your phone or whatever. I got a friend that they breed like Dobermans, and I was kind of like, you know, I wonder how much those go for, and I was like, oh, they go for this much. And I was like, you know, that's about how much one of my drawings goes for. And I'm like, oh, cool. Well, you know, like whatever. And like I like looked down and I was like, did I just trade a drawing for a dog? So I might have a dog. I just
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah.
But it's
Doberman though.
a Doberman, so it looked cool. But I'm like, I'm on the road like 9 months of the year, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
Speaking of, he did a drawing for you last night at Brothers. What
Yeah.
have you done with it?
It's on my kitchen table right now.
Okay.
I'm
You
gonna
gonna
hang
put it in a shadow box?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get it framed.
Before we get away from roping, on my text here, 940-353-0890. You can text me the word podcast and then send me a question, and sometimes we'll answer it on the podcast. Ayreon, Ayreon Green. Ayreon? Anyway, they ask, so this is a question that I want that I want to teach me on a podcast how to rope. I've gotten a rope and I'm going to start roping, but I don't know how to rope. So
The first thing you need is a dog.
Teach you how to rope on a podcast.
By sound.
This is perfect because I've got a broken collarbone because I wouldn't be able to show you in a video.
If it doesn't sound like this, you're doing it wrong.
So you're welcome to send me any question, and we'll try to answer it on the podcast. Me teaching you how to rope on the podcast is going to be difficult. Number one, I don't really know how to rope. I can barely catch them in the Brandon pin when we've got all day. And number two, I don't know how to explain it. So we're going to go to the next question.
Pass.
You should have John Harrison. Yes, of course. I love John Harrison. When are you going to publish your book on being a super puncher? I can't find it on Audible. Yes, I need to. Yes.
Would you read it yourself?
Yes, I think
That would be...
I would
feel,
have to.
I feel like you would have to, because you couldn't have... Unless you could get, like, Anthony Hopkins or Morgan Freeman being you. I think we talked about that last time. But that would be sick.
How?
But I don't see, like, an Audible dude reading, like, as you, like... And then, you know, like, with the...
I would love to have Morgan Freeman doing my audiobook.
I told you I downloaded Waze whenever that had his voice, just because, like, I didn't even use it, but I would be, like, taking out my trash, and, like, Morgan Freeman would be like, you take a left.
Take a right.
Yeah, at the alley. Walk 30 feet. I was like, this is sick.
Vince Stark says, what is Wes doing? Donnie, you answer that while I look for the next question.
Wes is working on power lines. He's a
lineman for the county.
I
I don't know what I don't know what he does, actually.
He's bringing electric to people. That's what he does.
Electricity into your homes so you can toast your toast.
He's climbing poles.
He's a pole climber.
Yeah.
Is he out? And he's getting married.
Yeah.
Is he?
Congratulations.
Ethan Kreider says,
What?
You said that with such disappointment. He's getting married. Congratulations.
what goes through your mind when you are riding a bull? Ethan Kreider says.
What I'm going to eat for lunch?
Yeah. How many chicken nuggets?
No, is that what you're going to say?
Yeah. No. That's exactly what I was going to say. Madison Curry says, how did you meet JB? Tell us about the day you met JB, Donnie. What was going through your mind?
Don't say anything to piss him off.
Why'd you think that?
I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just... Hindsight, that's probably... I don't know what I was thinking.
I met him in Vegas. Met him and he's like, hey, come with me. And we went to the high roller table at the Luxor. And he made me gamble with his own money. So the first time I met him, it was, do not lose his money. Do not lose his money.
That's when you met him?
Yeah.
Was that Eldorado days?
Mm-hmm. In Vegas.
Man.
It was neat. It was a cool first experience.
I was about to say, that would be like, I would already kind of be like a little bit like, dang, that's
that
what
is
they
a
do.
crazy way
Yeah.
to meet somebody. Like,
Well, and think about who you're meeting.
JB Mooney. Yeah, put yourselves in Leroy's shoes right now. You meet JB Mooney at a blackjack table at the Excalibur Casino in Las Vegas in May.
Luxor.
Yeah, because it's the pyramid
pyramid.
thing. That's right.
It's a triangle.
It's a triangle, see? And he's betting like
Thousands
much
of dollars.
per hand. And he's like,
the
hey,
hands that he just wanted me to hang out with him. Like, I wasn't playing. I wasn't spending that much money at the high roller deal. And he's like, no, man, just hang out with me. And sat down with him. And he'd get up to go to the bathroom. And he'd be like, play that hand for me. And he'd put $1,000 out. And I'm like, no, I'm not playing $1,000 hand of blackjack. Are you serious? He's like, do it. And I never lost any of his money. I made him money.
and then
It's
he
fun.
lost it all.
Yeah.
How much did he lose?
I don't want to talk about that. That's not
Okay. I'm sure he would. He don't.
Oh well.
You gotta bet big to win big when
He
you're
won
in Vegas.
big. He was winning really, really big. He did really good, and then like 17,000 is probably what he lost.
But he did walk away with some.
No. He got big. Yeah, like we
But he
stayed
didn't.
up until 6:30 that morning because you and I had to go film something, and when I got back to the room, you were waking up, and yeah. He didn't. He walked back, and then we got back to the rodeo that night, and he said, "You got any of them chips in your pocket or anything? How much did we win?" I was like, "Man, you lost all of it."
Yeah. Brendan Stewart said, "How much did he put in his pocket?" He was gambling with somebody,
It's
and
like
somebody
7,000
left
or something like that.
7,500.
Yeah.
Like 7
And this
grand.
guy was like sick that he lost 7,500, and Brendan Stewart made him drive all the way home from Vegas. And right when they were getting out of the truck, he was like, "Hey, brother, here's your 7,500. I took it off the table for you." That's a friend. Next
a
time you
friend.
gamble with JB and he lets you gamble and you go to the bathroom, put about 10,000 in your pocket
10,000 of his chips in
and
my
just
pocket.
tell him you lost it.
Right.
And then the next day, like, "Hey,
Here's
happy
your
birthday."
monies.
No, don't tell him it was from the blackjack table. Just tell him like, just be like, "Hey, brother, I want to give you 10 grand."
I'm cool with doing that now, but I wasn't about to do that the first time I was hanging out with him. No, it's fun.
The last time I went to Vegas, I think I might have gambled like $5, and it was like I was done after that.
How?
Cause like everybody was like, "Are you gonna gamble? Are you gonna?" I was like, "Man, I grew up farming and ranching. I'm a full-time artist. I gamble every day. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like whatever I made.
It's hard.
It's hard not to gamble because when we go to Vegas, we're there for like 14 days at a time.
Oh, that's
And
the
we'll
rabbit
get bored,
hole,
man.
Yeah,
We get bored, especially if you don't go to the rodeo that night and you're staying in a casino.
it's like a giant shopping mall. What
You
else
get
are you
done
gonna
eating.
do? Yeah,
And they got the rodeo on every TV in the casinos. So like Mirage, that's where we'll go, and that's where I've been staying. So we'll go in the Mirage, and not to mention they got my face on a blackjack table, so like on a felt. So you're watching the rodeo in front of a table with your face on it. Nah, I guess I'll play.
yeah.
You know, and it's hard
yeah.
not to put down $60-$80. And anyhow, I usually have like a $250. If I lose $250, I'm done, you know.
Yeah.
But if I can stay under the loss of $250, and
Yeah.
even if I get up some, I think the most I've ever walked away from Vegas having won was like $1,000, maybe.
Man,
But
that's pretty cool though.
I usually never. I don't remember a time where I've lost more than 300.
So whenever we went, I liked being with the group because we would all sit down at a blackjack table, and it was like a group of us, and then like the dealer.
Yeah.
And then because then it's like you're playing with your friends.
Uh-huh.
And if like you kind of play together and you know what to do, then it's like somebody's coming out on top,
Yep.
as long as it's not the dealer.
Yeah.
But I liked that.
Right.
But I wasn't using my money.
Leroy was playing a different game. What was that game called?
I can't remember. It's some flush. It's a flush game.
Stir found it.
He's the one that showed me how to play it. It pays pretty well.
Was it the Mirage too?
Yeah, it's I think it's like I can't remember what kind of flush game it is.
If you guys are planning on going to the NFR 2021, come see us at the Mirage. That's where we hang out, VIP after party. Me and Matt West, Leroy, Donnie Ray Daytona be there. We'll try to get Drew out. But I'm trying to get JB in the mix. We were emailing back and forth, and I was like, look, if you guys want, like, have a JBDB party, like, that's where we can
I'm getting
throw
excited
down.
man.
just thinking about
A
it.
JBDB party, that'd be. I mean, it was packed every night in 19
Yeah.
when we did it.
Yeah.
If it was a JBDB party, like they're gonna kick people out of the casino. There's gonna be a fire.
It's
hazard.
only going to be, they're
Dude.
going to max it out.
I'm like, the hair on my arm is standing up thinking about going back to Vegas right now. Like, I cannot wait.
You
to
know
get
what's
back
going to be
to
fun?
Vegas.
Like, I know, like, yes, you want to make the NFR, but there'll come a time, too, they got that, Stace puts on that futurity, and you get to ride at that futurity.
permit challenge.
Yeah.
No? Well, yeah, that. Yeah, that. The Buckenstock sale. I forgot about that. But
You got to
the
be
futurity,
invited now.
Do you? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Permit challenge?
Yeah, they don't do a full
Oh, it's like
challenge.
top 5?
It's like top 5 or 10. It's an invitation.
Well,
Invitational.
then who gets on the
placing
other
deal.
horses for sale?
I
You
don't
sure
know.
it's not both?
I think they do it at the futurity. I don't think they have the sale that. I don't think they really. I don't know.
No, I think
Every time
you
that
can,
I've tried to look at entering the permit thing,
they got a permit challenge that you can enter. It's like, you remember the buck and stock sale?
Mm-hmm. In Oklahoma.
Yeah. No.
Or yeah,
South Point.
I didn't go to it, but yeah, sure.
It's at South Point.
Yeah.
And you getting to ride in Vegas during the NFR is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then Stace, they do a buck and stock sale, and then Stace does a futurity, and then they do another buck and stock sale, and then they have the second round. Anyway, that's how they used to break it down. Getting to ride at any of those while you're out there would be pretty baller.
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
And because Stace has that party the night before, and you get this jacket, pretty cool. So, anyways, you should have that on your mind. We got another question from Parker Grogan. I do have a question for you. What is it like to be a cowboy? I thought this would be interesting for Donnie to answer. Having come from Missouri, you're bartender, college kid, farm kid, and now you're in Texas.
Redhead.
Redhead. Now you're in Texas, and you're about to, be labeled a cowboy.
You bet.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. That's hard. I don't know.
What do you not know?
Uh,
Or walk him through it. How do you feel? Dale calls you a cowboy. What makes you say?
Shoot, yeah.
What makes you say I don't know?
I just, you never like to that term. I don't think you definitely don't ever. I don't want to say this. I don't think you want to be the first person to use that to describe yourself.
That's a good answer, though.
But I don't know if you ever get to the point where you really use that to describe yourself.
I
don't
agree
know.
with you. I think the same thing. Like somebody asks me, I don't ever tell anybody I'm a cowboy.
If you it's when you got the peers, like the people that do it for when they call you that, then I think you can check that box off maybe. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
there's people that have earned the right and that are damn sure cowboys and they get to call themselves that. But
I relate to that, though, because whenever people, I do that with, the artist thing, because I feel like it's thrown around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely, a spectrum.
yeah,
But, if somebody's like, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm always like, oh, I'm a painter.
yeah,
And then, the question is well, commercial or residential? And I'm like, a little bit of both. And that's it, but I'm never gonna be like, oh, I'm an
Yeah,
artist, because
no.
then they're like, so you're like a rapper, or
yeah.
what do you you interpretive dance, what? It's like a weird title thing where I feel like I've always had to I'll earn that, and whenever other people call me that, then that means I've earned it. So I relate to that because it's
Yeah.
the same thing as
It's flattering when people think that you might be, but I don't know. When you compare yourself to the people that you look up to and respect and do it personally, I don't
Yeah.
figure myself one.
It's almost like a compliment instead of a title.
Yeah.
It's like something it's like a doctor. You got to earn it first, and then if somebody else calls you, it's got it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. You have you've elevated this word, and you're seeing it as, I think you're describing, and this is okay, but you're describing it as like a level that you're trying to reach. Whereas if you were full-time doctor in yearlings,
Yeah.
for me, you edit a lot of videos. That's your main job.
Yeah.
You'll edit and film. And but if you were a doctor in yearlings full-time, or you were working on a ranch full-time, then by trade and by definition, it might be easy to call yourself a cowboy.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is would you consider yourself a cowboy just by your abilities? Is that what you're talking about?
I think both. Yeah. I think there's.
But I'm saying since it's not your trade,
Yeah. Yeah.
it just depends on how you're asking the question. What's it like to be a cowboy? Meaning that's how you make your living, or like this is something that you're good at doing every day. Like it's such a deep word. you
Yeah,
know?
it's just hard. Like I don't know. Like,
There's a lot that goes into it. Just trying to think about it. Like I haven't ridden a horse in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's not very many cowboys that call themselves cowboys. You know, they're riding horses every day, every other day, if not every. To where I don't like to tell people that.
It's almost like, because I keep relating it back to the art thing. It's like you break it down into categories. It's like artist thing. It's like, I'm an artist. Well, are you a musician? Are you a painter? Are you a sculptor? It's like, what's it like being a cowboy? Well, it's like, are you a bronc rider? Are you a bull rider?
Yeah.
You got yearlings?
Do
You know what I
you-
mean? Like, are you a dairy farmer?
Do you
Like,
ranch
what?
by trade?
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
or do you like,
It's a subcult.
You grew up-
Yeah.
you might have grown up horseback, but now you're a YouTuber
Yeah.
and you have horses, you know.
That, and there's just like, it depends on who's asking the question. Like if it's a cowboy asking, you a cowboy? It's like, I mean,
I dabble.
I dabble.
I dabble a little.
Are you a cattleman? It's
Right.
like that, because that's
if-
something else. It's like, because like growing up, like I would consider my dad more of a cattleman, because it's like I mean, there was times when we were kids, it was just like him and my dad and like my brother. It was like had a lot of cattle, and
Yeah.
then like with my granddad around, it was like he would call up cowboys to come help us get cattle up, and it was like I would consider my granddad like a cattleman. He wasn't like a cowboy. He wasn't like a hand. He was like, it was like his outfit.
Yeah, that's a great differentiator. You know, there's a lot of people, especially when you get off into like East Texas, where you can run more. And the reason why I say that is because you can have 100 acres and you can run, 22 head on 100 acres.
Yeah.
And so you bump the horn, they come up, and you wean them by yourself. You could almost do it all by yourself. If you're going to run 20 head in West Texas, then you need 400 acres, 500 acres.
Yeah.
Just because the grass is different, and that's, it's nothing against East Texas. There's plenty of like cowboys in East Texas.
Yeah.
But in West Texas, like there's pastures, 3,000-4,000 acres, that would be a normal size pasture for random ranches.
Yeah.
In East Texas, like that's 2 ranches because of the grass difference. And so a lot of people in East Texas may just refer to themselves as cattlemen,
Yeah.
or by definition might just be a cattleman. And then, in West Texas, like you have to have those cowboys, which New Mexico, where you're talking about, is a lot like West Texas. Got
Yeah.
a bigger country that supports less cows. And so you got to have guys horseback that know how to handle a horse, and just by trade, they are cowboys.
Yeah.
Anyhow, what we do here in Winnebago is a mixture of all that.
yeah.
We cowboy by trade, we are rodeo cowboys, and we dabble in all of it. We film it so that the world can see it. I do consider you a cowboy,
Well, I appreciate
Donnie. Leroy, very much so.
Well, thank you.
Even you, Drew.
I don't like to call
Hey.
myself one.
Appreciate
Who-
that.
And I say even you because like you're a guest here, and I'm even you
I'll
as
take
part
it.
of the posse,
I'll take it.
But yes, you are a cowboy.
Who asked this question? What was his name?
Philip. I've already moved it. Philip.
Philip. It's
Rogan.
complicated.
Yeah, we took the.
When I say I don't like calling myself one, it's not that I love being a cowboy. It's I don't. Yeah, it's hard to explain.
When you hear the word cowboy, you're thinking of the guys you know.
Yeah,
That
I'm
do
thinking
it for
of
a
the
living.
Burson brothers and
the
your old
you
man.
respect.
yeah, my dad and Wendell Culp and those guys.
Boots
that are,
O'Neill.
Yeah,
And Tom Morehouse.
Oh my gosh. With a name like
bad-
Boots O'Neill, you're a cowboy.
He's a legend.
oh yeah, he's
He's a legend.
he's
He's
gonna
like 87.
Yeah, he's like one of
Oh
those
man.
He still gets
He's one of them.
horseback. Like this spring, he will be branding calves. Like he'll be roping and dragging. 87 years old.
he's
And there's a
handy.
lot of those cowboys like that.
Dude,
Tom Morehouse, he's not 87. Tom Morehouse is a little older, and he cowboys every day. He's trotting through yearlings,
Dude, I know a guy from my hometown. It's like he actually just like broke his hip. He's like one of those old. He's like riding and just hit a little bit, and it's like, dude, it's because you're old.
Yeah.
It's like,
Boots has a brother, Wes O'Neill. And these are like Wes worked on the Wagner Ranch for over 50 years. You know what I mean? Like, that's, for some of our listeners, like, that's 2 lifetimes.
It's 2 lifetimes for me.
For Donnie, that'd be all the years you've lived, times that by 2. Imagine ranching on
Just
one
one,
ranch for that long.
Yeah.
You know where every hole in that place is.
No
At that
kidding.
point.
Yeah. You say,
But
such and
also,
such.
like,
Watch yourself over there.
yeah, such and
You're not
such.
even looking. I just know.
I think
Can you
it's
imagine dragging a calf, and you worked that calf's great granddad? Like, you've been there that long. Like,
I think it's important though for people that like don't know what it's like to understand the quality of life that you have, because I know guys that I grew up with that like one of my buddies, his dad passed away when we were like 17 and he took over the outfit, or no, we were like 14 and I saw him when I was like 17 and he was already like triple my age. I didn't recognize dude.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like, I was like, I am still a child, and within 2 years this dude was a full grown man and had like years on me. So I can't
a
imagine.
beard and a wife. And
Yeah,
kids.
like kids, wife, his face is leather. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah.
like it's like you look at it as like, man, it's not an easy life. And then you go
No.
50 years on a ranch. You know what I mean? Like
Dang,
hard
yeah.
manual labor every day. It's rough, dude.
It's one of
I
those.
can't imagine that.
We've been talking about this recently. It's a lifestyle that you get going down this road, and you realize that, like, man, I got to love this because I'm not in it for the money. You know, there's other things I could do to make more money.
Oh, yeah.
And that's anything, you know, no matter what you're doing, you know. I almost said even playing football, but, like, you can be passionate about playing football and you end up making millions. So that's a different story.
It's true.
But you do have to be passionate about that, though.
Definitely.
You go into college football compared to, you know, that's your life.
You want to go into a D1 workout in off season, you got to love that.
But that's even a factor. You know, like I was talking to a guy that is 3rd in line at an NFL football team, you know, as far as like ranking and as like the bosses, not a player.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we were just conversating about some of these athletes. And it's like some of these guys get, and he wasn't talking about anybody in general, but he was just talking about, he wasn't talking about anybody specifically. We were just talking in generalities where he's like, you know, some of these guys get 15, 20, 50 million dollar contracts, and then all of a sudden their game kind of goes downhill, you know, because not everybody's like a Tom Brady
I got that money.
who
Yeah.
absolutely is doing it because of they love the sport, you know. And somebody like Tom Brady or, you know, LeBron James, it's obvious, you know, that it's more than money to them, because they
They want to be the greatest.
you can't put forth that much effort for that long for, you know, and not have gotten comfortable. And rodeo's the same way, cowboying's the same way, except, you know, it happens day one. Those big $1 million checks don't come for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, occasionally they do, thanks to things like the American and Rodeo Today, where there's people can make a lot of money. But, you know, everyday cowboys, you know, you're just not going to get that check that you look up and you're just like, well, I can take it easy ranching today now that I'm rich.
It's the trade-off though, because it's the lifestyle.
Yes,
It's-
that's what you're doing it for.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm
I
sure
mean,
you
like-
experience the same thing as an artist.
oh yeah, it's weird because like I never thought that they were similar at all until it was like, oh, I'm coming out on top because I'm not in debt. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, as long as you're like not in debt to the bank, or like the, you know, cattle market's good, whatever, like art market's good, I'm selling, like whatever. And if you're on top, then it was, for a long time, it was like, it finally clicked. It's like, this is like the same thing.
Yeah.
And it hurt. But then you start doing better, and then you get competing with yourself. And that's whenever it like,
Yeah.
it's, you start having that Tom Brady mentality where it's like, well, money is almost like it's like a side thing.
Yeah.
It's not the
like-
driving factor.
it's not the driving
just
factor.
Like, oh, that's
It's like-
cool. I get that for doing this. Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's whenever you start making money. And I feel like cattle, like ranch and cowboy, might be kind of the same, but that's more of like the lifestyle. Like you're never gonna get rich just being like a day hand. But
1,000%.
But you get
Because you can't scale it. You're just
Exactly.
trading time for money.
Exactly. But you get freedom. You get beauty,
Yes.
and you get those small moments that a lot of people will never understand or know.
Yep. Yeah.
That
The
sounds
stuff
pretty.
that money can't buy anyway.
Exactly.
If you have the
Not to
mindset
sound cliche or cheesy, but it's the truth.
if you have the mindset, and you gotta be self, evaluating yourself, self-aware. If you have the mindset that money is a problem solver, then you shouldn't be a cowboy. If you have the mindset that if that money is going to give you happiness or peace, then you can't be a cowboy, because you're gonna, But if you have the mindset that perspective is going to solve that problem, and you'd rather be horseback and make 125, 150 in a day than behind a desk and make 260 that day, then you're in the right profession.
But money still does. It helps.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
If you know that your bills are paid for the next 6 months, and you're gonna have enough money for the next 6 months to buy feed, you should feel good about yourself.
No, 100%.
Have
Yeah,
you
you
ever
should.
seen anybody frown on a G6?
And there's ways that you can make more than 125.
Oh, definitely.
I'm just talking about that's just a quick example.
Well, I was just throwing it.
You're not
like,
married into
It's
day work money 125. There's jobs out there where you can, we've got friends where they dip their hand into multiple buckets, where it's like they're running a ranch for somebody, managing cows. They're also training horses and selling those on the side. They might shoe horses also. And now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, this guy or whatever, I can make $42.5 a year, and that's great, Whereas one, $125 day working, it
Right.
looks like
5 days
you
a
look
week.
up and you're like, okay, I made $18,000 this year. What else can I, you know what I'm saying? So there's ways where you can.
just gotta hustle.
Jeff Nelms asks, are you serious about total feeds? I have a 20-year-old gelding and I want to give him something to make him look like a 10-year-old bronc. What do you recommend? I said, I recommend total feeds.
Total equine.
Total equine. That's what I did for Boone. That's why I was feeding Total Equine long before they were my sponsor. Yes, they are my sponsor now, but I was paying for that feed. And if they decided, hey, we're gonna go a different direction and go with the second greatest bull rider of all time or third greatest, whoever those people might be, I would still feed it. So that's where I'm at on that.
It smells really good too.
Yeah. How's it taste?
It's
don't know.
all right, but it kind of chaps you coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Boone hasn't complained about it though.
No.
Let me get one more question. What does it take to get started as a stock contractor? Anthony Sims asks. I know a guy that raises bulls, and he's got 10 acres. I think the start with good genetics. If you want to actually be the guy that houses the bulls, then you obviously need some land, somewhere to put them. You don't have to have a big ranch. That would help, but you got somewhere, we got 10, 12 acres, and you can have a little buck out pen, and you feed the bulls, because sometimes you want to control their diet anyway. Now if you're trying to run cows and breed these cows and raise the calf, you're going to need some country. But if you can find somewhere to buy bull yearlings or buy 2-year-old bulls and buck those, and you just kind of buy and sell and you're trading, then you don't need as much country. You don't need more than 10, 20 acres. There's other ways to get involved. You can partner with people. JB and I, we would take a partner. You want to partner on a bull. That bull does well, then we split the income.
You already got bulls and you're wanting to put on a rodeo, subcontract some horses or calves and all that jazz. You don't have to have it all yourself.
Yeah, he did say stock contractor. I was thinking just bull business. You're talking about horses.
Yeah,
too.
if you're wanting to put on rodeos, then if you have roping calves or you already have the roping steers and all that, you can call and subcontract and start a rodeo company doing it that way. More hands in the pot, though, means less money to work with. But
You get that question
way
a
to do
lot,
it.
I feel like.
it's one way to get into
Stock
it.
contractor.
Figure out if it's something you want to do.
It's a lot of people that like to own buck and stock.
You think it's because because like they don't
PBR.
actually want. They want to be a part of rodeo, but they don't want to get on bulls or bucking horses.
I don't think that it's necessarily like a. I mean, yeah, obviously they would have the thought like I don't want to ride bulls, but it's not necessarily like. I think the PBR has helped make that role in the industry more. Hold on, let me hit pause on this. Resumed.
John.
Y'all make
So, I think the PBR has done a great job of like showing that side of the industry, and it's caused more people to want to be stock contractors and raise the bulls. It's like bulls against bull riders, which is fine because it's like elevated the game of the bulls, you know, and it's made bucking bulls like worth a lot more. It's just because it becomes competitive.
Yeah.
You know, it's like capitalism, and so. And
Yeah,
it's
and it's
starting.
also just it's exciting. Like,
Yes.
what if they only got 2 or 3 bulls, and it's just that thought of, man, what if that guy over there makes it? What if that's the bull of the year?
Yeah.
Like, just that thought process just makes it gives you something to look forward to, gives you something to work towards.
I think that's like an interesting. That's what to me like because I've never really been into like bull riding or whatever until like started hanging out with you guys, started getting more into it, learning about it or whatever. But I think that's like an interesting concept for people who don't like know or haven't watched it. It's like the man versus bull thing. It's like, no, so this is where it's getting to is like you get guys like this or like breeders or like whatever, you get into like I don't know. But then you have like just for like namesake or whatever, for the people that don't know, you have like the Tom Brady of bull riding, but then you have like the Tom Brady of bulls.
Yes.
Like the rank is sucker. And then you put them together and it's like, oh, this is crazy.
Yes.
Like so that's where you started. It gets interesting where it's like those three where it's like, no, this is the baddest of the bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's where it gets fun.
The one thing I disagree with, or the one thing I don't understand would be like as a stock contractor, I would never be able to remove myself from the human side of it. So no matter how good a bull could get, like I feel like unless I just really didn't like the guy, I would be excited to see, as rank as my bull could be, like I would be excited to see someone go 90 some odd points on my bull.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Like you want to see somebody win the rodeo on
I
your
don't
bull.
want to. I don't want to see somebody get one jumped and then you're not going to see me cheering. If I
Yeah.
flank a bull and somebody gets one jumped, then I'm not going to just like be raising the roof.
No,
You know?
but I
Yeah.
mean, now if it is if you're at one of those competition at the the ABBIs or something like that, and that's what it is. That's how you win. Then,
Yeah, but
that's a little different.
I mean, the bull can still score with the rider riding
Right.
him. You know.
Well, that's a great question too though, is like, do you think it's going to take somebody that's almost like a sadist to where it's like, I'm going to get the baddest bull that's ever been alive for it to like get to another level?
I
You
don't
know what I
feel
mean?
like it's already on that level.
Yeah.
Like those
I mean, like,
bulls,
I
there's
watch them and it's like,
so
yeah.
many ranked bulls. You know, like you'll go to bull ride, like even at the American the other night in the 8-man round, Colton Fritzland was the only one to ride. You know what I'm saying? It's like eight.
Yeah.
It's
And-
8 of like the top 25 bull riders in the world, and they only ride 1 out of 8. So that's what I'm saying.
That's
Like,
nuts. Yeah, it's
I
already
think the bull
it's
industry is
there.
already there.
And
Yeah.
the TV doesn't do it justice. Like you got to
No,
go
it
to
never
a
does.
PBR,
Yeah.
go to one of those good bull ridings to really understand what those animals are capable of.
I'm not saying like
And
you shouldn't like keep breeding
no.
good bulls with good bucking cows and try to make the genetics, but like anyways,
I'm like, because I'm like on that like Jurassic Park mindset where I'm like,
Yeah.
how crazy is it gonna get?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, are they?
We need
gonna,
a bigger buck and shoot for
Yeah,
this one.
they're gonna like be
Also,
scientists in a lab. Like
He's
you know,
got
like-
talons. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Well, the spikes on his head, you know,
Yeah.
and then the shell on his back really make it difficult to.
right.
The battle axe on the tail, you got to watch that.
He actually died in the buck and shoot. The bull rider. Let's go around the horn. What's your life advice, Leroy? Go.
come back to me.
Donnie, go.
Gosh dang.
A man has 2 lives,
That's what I was gonna say.
and his second one starts when he realizes he only has one. That's mine.
That's kind of what I was gonna say.
Okay. What you got, Drew?
2 mice fall in a bucket of cream. 1 mouse. No, I'm done. I'm with you.
Now, if there's something that you want to do it now. Like, don't wait.
Yeah.
Just start doing it.
That's good. I'm gonna stick with you. Cause like with art, whatever. Final thoughts. You go through, and it's like bull riding, cowboying, whatever you do, you're gonna get a lot better, and you're gonna get where you want to go if you just go all in and do it.
Just get into it, do it, hustle. It'll work itself out. It'll get there.
Keep swinging.
That's what I know.
You're gonna hit something eventually.
Just don't stop. You don't stop, it's gonna work out.
Amen.
At least that's how I feel.
New album out
Yeah.
March 20.
Also, check out
26,
the
12 a.m.
Leroy merch, DaleBrisby.com.
Oh yeah, I got me a new page on DaleBrisby.com. Go check that out. That Leroy stuff.
Sick.
Pickle in a
Little
pocket.
pickle in your pocket.
What you got for life advice, Donnie?
Live free, die hard.
Rodeo.
Yep.
Eat, sleep, live free, die hard. Rodeo. Cowboy.
Isn't that the...
It's a sequel to Die Hard.
Oh, I thought that was the logo on the front of Die Hard. Live free, die hard.
Well, it's a sequel to Die Hard.
That's what it's
Oh,
called.
it is the sequel?
That's what it's
Yeah.
called.
Oh.
Not only the logo, but it's what the movie's called.
Oh.
Get rich or die crying. Wait.
Wait. All right. Rodeo time. Pow pow. On to the next one. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And
Peace out,
we're
Big
on to
Town.
the next one.